Art, nature, and ritual have always offered a light in dark places. Individually, they can tether us to presence, purpose, and beauty during unpredictable times, rooting us into what truly matters and guiding a way back to our hearts and homes. Together, they can serve as an antidote to some of the most challenging struggles we both face as a people and as a culture. They can help us practice creativity in the midst of disempowerment, to see with curiosity and wonder when so much looks like hopelessness and despair. Hi, I'm Schildkret with Morning Altars, and I want to invite you into this 7-step practice with nature, art, and ritual. Before I do, I want to share with you my personal story about how Morning Altars completely changed my life. You see, about 10 years ago now, I had this double whammy of grief. My father died, and I had this incredible relationship breakup that totally broke my heart. And at the time, I had a little dog named Rudy, this 10-year-old miniature schnauzer. And every morning, because Rudy needs to go outside, her and I would take a walk through the hills in California, and she would be sniffing and being real curious, and I would just be with my head down, so sad and full of mourning. And occasionally I would see these beautiful things on the road, this crow feather or this cluster of elderberries, and it would pop me out of my grief for just a minute. And then I would carry on, Rudy being curious and me being sad. And so the story goes, we would walk to the top of this hill in a place called Wildcat Canyon, and under this beautiful eucalyptus tree, at the base of this tree, were these beautiful amber-colored mushrooms. They looked like someone painted them with watercolor. And I don't know what compelled me to do this, but I sat down under this tree and I just started to arrange the mushrooms. I started to put them into some order, and I took some eucalyptus bark and some eucalyptus caps, and an hour went by like it was a minute. And before me was this symmetrical piece of art, what I would later call a morning altar, made of these mushrooms and eucalyptus bark and some leaves. And it was as if I took the disorder that was happening in my life with my father's death and my breakup, and I temporarily put them into some order, some semblance of understanding. And I knew in that moment something actually happened. So I made a challenge to myself. Could I return to that same spot for 30 days, every morning walking my dog, and sit under the same tree and collect items along the way and sit under that tree and make a beautiful piece of art, impermanent art? And so I did just that. I would walk the dog, I'd collect these beautiful leaves or flower petals or pine cones, and I would go to the same eucalyptus tree on this trail, and I'd sit down and I would just create some order, some beauty under that tree. And 30 days came and went, and I didn't want to stop. There was something that happened, something that was happening that was deeply healing to me. And so I kept on returning to that tree every day, making art under that tree, but something started to happen. I dedicated all of that art every day to different aspects of my own life, to my own healing, and then to things happening in my friends' lives or my family's lives or in the world. My best friend would have a baby, and so I would dedicate an altar to her, or my other friend's parent passed away, so I dedicated an altar to that, or we had an election in my country, and so I made an altar to that. And suddenly the altars that I was making weren't just for my grief, but they became ways that I was marking time, that I was marking my life. They became ways that I was transforming my life into more beauty. Something remarkable just happened after that, which is I started to share what I made with friends and family and on social media. And the altars were like seeds in the world. And suddenly people in England or Poland or Brazil or Iran were so inspired by what I was making that they went into their own backyards or their parks or in their neighborhoods, collected objects from the places that they lived, and then they made their own altars for their own reasons, and they would send them back to me on social media. And suddenly this movement happened called morning altars. People all over the world were making earth art to dedicate it to their own lives. And in looking back, I realized there are 7 steps to this practice. And these videos are to instruct you into these 7 different steps so that you can make your own morning altar. So I'd like to review with you the 7 steps, and each video will be dedicated to one of those steps. So here are the 7 steps of the morning altars practice. Step 1, wander and wonder. This is the step where you'll leave your home with a basket or a tote bag, and you'll just wander around your neighborhood and forage and collect the materials for your altar. However, this is not just about foraging, but this is about seeing the world, your neighborhood, or a tree or a bush, as if it was the first time you've seen it, with a sense of childlike wonder. Step 2 is called place. And this is where you will stop wandering and sit in one place and observe the aliveness of that place. In our subsequent videos, we'll do a place meditation to help you better connect to the place that you are. Step 3 is clear. And this is the clearing of a canvas that you'll put down your morning altar. But this isn't just about getting things out of the way. This is about creating a space so that you can bring something in. Step 4 is the creative practice, creating with patterns or numbers or shapes so that you can create from the center and ripple out. Step 5 is called gift. And this is what distinguishes this from an art practice into a devotional practice. We will learn how to dedicate your altar to something that is beyond you or something deeply healing within you. Step 6 is called share. This is the step about photographing it and sharing it like a seed out into your friends or family and into the world, but with real intention. And lastly, the 7th step, called let go. And this is what makes this practice so unique and powerful. This step is about impermanence, practicing relating to change, creating something with real order, and then watching it get disordered and go back to where it came from. This morning altars practice completely changed my life. It opened my heart, it connected me with the earth, it brought me into my innate creativity, and it allowed me to practice relating to change. And I want to invite you into this practice, not just watching these videos, but actually going out to where you live and going out there and doing this and creating altars for your life so that you can feel that sense of connection, that sense of belonging, that sense of creativity, that sense of slowing down and reconnecting to that childlike wonder that lives within inside of you. Morning altars stands on the shoulders of impermanent earth art all over the world. In cultures such as India and Peru, and here in North America, indigenous cultures have been making impermanent earth art for thousands of years. And even though that this has been a personal practice of mine, it has been remarkable to realize that it stands on the shoulders of so many cultures creating art for their places and their people and ways to reconnect the people and the place together. So let's watch the rest of these videos and we'll go through the steps one by one until you can feel like you have enough information to go outside and try it yourself.